there still wasn't YouTube. There was nobody talking
No.
about it. And so I had to learn on my own,
Yeah.
basically. And then I just started buying used books. I didn't get a scanner right away because they were expensive. And so I would just buy books blind, and I was getting them for $5 a bag from the Goodwill outlet. And I would buy them. I would just be like, this one's good. $5 for a grocery bag, a paper bag. If they're really small, maybe like 25, 25, 50. If it was textbooks, maybe 10. And then I would go home and then look them up on Amazon, and you know, half of them would be good, or a quarter, enough to make money. And I was wow, like, you know, I'm not even using any tools, you know.
What's up, guys? Welcome to a new podcast. This time I'm gonna do it in English for the guys that are coming from my YouTube channel in Spanish and Instagram in general. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I talk about Amazon FBA, entrepreneurship, online businesses and stuff. But if you follow me for a long time ago, you might know this guy. To be honest, to have this first guest in the English channel, it's quite like an honor. Thank you for your time. I really respect this guy and admire it. So first of all, like, say hi to you. How are you doing? Mike or Reezy? How do you?
Oh, Reezy is fine.
Yeah. For me, you are Reezy.
No, it's how it is. Mostly, my last name is Resendez. So in high school, people started calling me, Resendez, and then Mike Reezy, and then just Reezy, and then YouTube Reezy Resells. But only my family calls me Mike. Everyone else calls me Reezy.
Okay, so let's call you Reezy. Yeah, I started following you like around 2016, 2017. So I know quite a lot about your story, but for the people that are listening, like, let's do like a little bit of a background. Like, who are you? How did you start on like in your entrepreneurship venture and then creating content, etc.?
Okay, cool. So I'm Mike Reezy. Hi, nice to meet you guys. I've been selling on Amazon since 2005. Wow. I've been messing with eBay and Yahoo auctions a long time ago, like in 2000, like 99, maybe 98.
How old are you?
39. I turned 40 this year. So, I grew up in kind of in a broken household. My parents were divorced, domestic violence, drug abuse. My parents were in jail or prison. I also lived in foster homes. I've been homeless at times when I was younger. I moved a lot. I went to a lot of schools. I always got in trouble at school, always, like all the time. Because I don't know, I just didn't have to study much. And so I always was just trying to make jokes and get attention, I think was the thing, because I was kind of neglected at home.
Yeah.
I used to sell like candy at school, or I used to recycle, take cans from the apartment complex and recycle it and get money. This was when I was like 10. Yeah. I used to like take fruit from the trees and then knock on people's doors and sell it to them, you know, or flowers or just anything. Cause I couldn't get, some people could ask their parents for money. Dad, can I have $5? But I couldn't. And so I had to figure out how to get money. And even if I was just out with my friends in the summer, I didn't want to go home because who knows what was happening at home. So if I was hungry, I had to figure out how to get money. And so I used to have all these little hustles, and I also grew up near an amusement park, the Santa Cruz Beach Boardwalk. So the cool thing about there is it's free to get in, but if you don't have any money, you can't have any fun because you need money to play games, to ride the rides, cotton candy, all that stuff. But since it's all full of tourists, there's a lot of opportunity to make money. So we had all these scams where I would like win the games and then sell the tickets. Or I would get like a giant teddy bear and sell it to somebody for $20 because they're going to probably spend $100 trying to win it, you know, for their girlfriend.
Everything related with reselling, no?
Yeah. And then when I got older, maybe like around 13 or so, I had older friends, older brothers that were like smoking weed. And so then I started to sell that for them, and I started to learn even more about sales and like customer management and all kinds. Like I didn't call it that then because I didn't know, but like later I realized I was like, oh, I learned a lot from doing that business. So eventually, I ended up moving to, because I'm from California, but I ended up moving to Kansas to live with my sister after I was in juvenile hall for a while and in some group homes.
Fuck.
And in high school, I met my wife, and then she got pregnant, and we got married, and I dropped out of high school in 10th grade. So
Like 16 or something like that. No?
16, yeah. So at age 16, I had a kid, dropped out of high school, and then moved out on my own, got an apartment, car, started working full time. And that's kind of when I started exploring eBay and selling online a little bit. My little brother is a super computer nerd. He's super smart. And he was always on the computer all the time. You could just call him at any time, and he's sitting in the computer. And so he started messing with eBay. And I started, messing with it with him, and we sold like our Nintendo 64 and all the games and controllers, like in one listing.
Yeah.
And I remember the guy that bought it, his name was like Video Games Direct or something. And so when I looked at his
a company, no?
Like somebody, not just a guy. So then I looked at his, or at least a guy having a business. So then I looked at his store, click on his name, and he sells Nintendo game, controller, power plug. And so I was like, oh man, he made money off of us. Because we sold a lot. Yeah, so that's when I realized about breaking bulk. Like you could sell things individually, and that also at the same time, like, oh, you could buy a big lot of something off eBay and then sell back on eBay one piece at a time. Because in Kansas there wasn't a lot of yard sales, so we started doing that for a while.
The early 2000s, no? Early 2000s, more or less.
Yeah,
no?
yeah, early 2000s. Yeah, for sure. Really early. We were still using telephone modem.
The internet was.
Yeah. Exactly.
Internet was starting. I was a fucking kid.
56K modems. Anyways, so I eventually got better at it to where I was making maybe like $500 every month from eBay, and I was still doing shitty jobs, delivering pizza, cashier, like all kinds of whatever stuff that I hated.
Kansas.
Yeah, in Kansas. Yeah. Spoiler alert, I quit almost every job I ever had. I quit by going to lunch and then just not coming back. Because I was just like, oh, fuck, I'm eating my lunch and I'm just like, I got to go back. Like, fuck that, like, and I think that's important because I remember being in elementary school and like having to go to the bathroom. But because I was always messing around and getting in trouble all the time, when I asked to go to the bathroom, they don't let me go. They don't think I have to go. They just think I want to go fuck around. But I'm like, no, I literally have to go to the bathroom. And I remember telling myself, like, when I grow up, I'm never going to have to ask anybody to go to the bathroom. You know what I mean? And I think that's kind of like the root of the entrepreneurship for me. But we moved back to California in like 2004.
Okay.
And at this time, my firstborn daughter is 5. And I'm 20. And so, or almost 5, I'm 20. And I'm still going around to thrift stores. Now we have a garage sales. It's California, a lot of good weather, flea market, all that stuff. But I'm still selling like only stuff I know, like toys, video games, electronics. I didn't have a cell phone. And not everybody had cell phones. The iPhone, I don't think it was out yet.
No.
YouTube just started, right? Like,
well, in the US.
I remember thinking about YouTube. I remember looking at YouTube and thinking about it like, oh, cool, that's a free place to put videos, like a hard drive.
What, cat videos or something?
No, just like I could put a video
like a
there.
Hard drive.
Yes, yeah, because the hard drives were expensive back then. Or even to like a DVD was like $5 for a blank DVD, like $3 or something. And so I didn't think it was like TV. You know what I mean? Like it was so different back then. But anyways, so eventually I started seeing people at the thrift store often that were getting books. And I would ask them, at first I thought they worked there. I thought they worked there because they had so many. I thought they were putting the books out. They had like a shopping cart full of books, like 3 times a week. And I was like, what are you doing? And then they wouldn't tell me. So I would ask like, hey, what are you doing? Like, where are you selling these books at? And they would act like I was invisible. They wouldn't tell me.
You,
totally silent treatment.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wow, they must be making a lot of money. Like, well, they must be making a lot of money, right? And they had little, they had a little, a little device in their hand, not a phone, a little PDA. a Dell Axum
Ah,
X5 PDA.
the PDA times
Yeah,
before the iPhone.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And it had a little compact flash laser scanner
yeah,
in the top. And I was thinking, wow, like they not only are they probably making money, but like that device and the laser scanner that has to cost like $200.
yeah.
So they're definitely making money. And then I would go look it up on the computer. I would go home, look it up, and try to figure it out. I'm looking up book scanning, books. I can't find it. And I'm like good at looking stuff up. But all I would find was people talking about how to scan books to make digital
Yeah,
copies.
yeah.
Like, so check it out from the library, scan it, send it back to the library, free books. You know what I mean? And eventually, I seen someone scanning books who I had never seen before, an older woman. And I asked her, and she just told me right away. She was like, "Oh, I sell books on Amazon." And I was
Really?
like, "Oh, cool." Yeah, she was from out of town, so she wasn't
Wow.
trying to
That's
be
how, yeah.
secretive. You know what I mean? She was from out of town. She didn't care. It wasn't her honey hole. You know what I mean?
So, so
And sh
that's how you found out that you could sell on Amazon, no?
That's how I found out Amazon existed. I didn't even know what Amazon
2005,
was.
maybe,
Yeah.
no?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Wow.
didn't even
Yeah,
know
yeah,
what Amazon was. I've never purchased anything off Amazon because at that
yeah.
time we were still living check to check. Every month we would spend all the money we had and we would always have like one bill that was about to be turned off. Like
Yeah, electricity
when
or
you're late like 30 days, they're like, we're gonna shut it off, and then like they send you another one, like, no, for real, we're really gonna shut it off. Like
no,
I
no.
was like, okay, which one's gonna get shut off? Pay that one, but we always owed somebody some money. And so when we
Yeah,
started, I found that out, and then I was like, hey, what app are you using on that device or whatever? And they
yeah,
told me what it was called, and then I went and looked it up their website, and they had a lot of information. And so there still wasn't YouTube. There was nobody talking
no,
about it. And so I had to learn on my own,
yeah,
basically. And then I just started buying used books. And I didn't get a scanner right away because they were expensive. And so I would just buy books blind. And I was getting
yeah.
them for $5 a bag from the Goodwill outlet. And I would buy them. I would just be like, this one's good. This one's
How
good.
many?
This one's
How many
good.
books? Like $5, like 100
Five
books, or
$5 for a grocery bag, a paper bag. So
50 books,
maybe if they're small, if they're really small, maybe like
25 to
25,
50. Yeah,
25, 50. If it was textbooks, maybe 10,
10,
maybe
15,
like
yeah,
7, something. But
7.
anyways, and then I would go home and then look them up on Amazon.
Yeah,
And half of them would be good or a quarter, enough to make money. And I was wow,
yeah.
like I'm not
Quarter
even
is,
using any tools.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it was so funny. I remember I had like 100 books listed and I would barely sell any. And
Fuck.
then my brother was like, he was looking at the listings and he was like, why don't you make the price the lowest price? And I was like, well, I don't want to like sell it for too cheap. And so I was so
Exactly.
dumb. I was listing the books and I would say like, what price? And I would look at page 1 and then I would look at page 10 and then I would
There.
look at page 5 and I would be like, I'm put it right there, right
the
in the
middle.
middle. Not too much, not too little. And it wouldn't sell. And so my brother was like, why don't you just try lowest price? Like, who cares? You paid like 20 cents. Who cares? And I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, cool. So I put everything to the lowest price. And then overnight we sold like 40
Boom.
books out of 100.
Really?
And
In one day?
out of 100. And I was like, oh my
Wow.
God. Right. And so
What?
that was
Was there
also, go ahead.
was
Sorry.
there a sales rank? Sorry to interrupt you. Was there like a sales rank in
Yeah.
2005
We had sales
already?
rank. There was sales rank, but we didn't have obviously
If,
e-score
yeah,
or sales count. And
yeah,
before
yeah, yeah.
before e-score, we had average rank, which was something I gave them to do. I was like, hey, I need an average sales rank for 6
Yeah,
months. That's way
yeah,
better.
not
Like
the
so before they had sales count, they had sales rank / average sales rank for the last 6 months. And that was helpful because it stopped you from
yeah.
having to go count the spikes on the Keepa graph,
I
right? Like not
remember,
go ahead,
yeah,
sorry.
watching your videos. Sorry, because I'm getting like flashbacks. I remember I started in 2015 doing arbitrage in Spain. I feel super young right now with you. You are old school. And I remember watching your videos. You were talking a lot about it's not about the sales rank right now today. It's about the average. And I had the same issues in Spain here when I was starting. Like fuck, it looks good, but it's not that good, the product, whatever.
Yeah, you do, because of the sales rank is dynamic, right? Which
exactly.
which I didn't realize at first too. I think for the first few months, I probably didn't buy anything over 1 million, just because I heard somewhere or I read somewhere maybe it doesn't sell over 1 million, and I was like, oh, forget about it.
Yeah. And I saw those videos that you were talking about, 1 million sales rank, and I was like, I need to extrapolate this information to Spain,
Right.
And I was like, should be 10 times less.
Like 100,000, right?
Yeah, and I was like managing without Keepa in the beginning, but it's insane. By the way, when did Amazon US started? Because Spain was 2012.
Oh, I don't know when Amazon US started. I can look it up though.
2000 or something, 10 years before, I would say. Because
94.
Yeah, but the marketplace, I'm not that sure. Maybe 95, whatever.
Let me see.
Yeah, let's check it.
2000 maybe, November 2000.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. So
10 years before Spain.
Yeah. Crazy. So God, I forgot where I was at. Where was I?
Yeah, like that you were like trying to understand how to sell more, lower the price.
So after we sold all those books, right? So after like the first month of good sales, I was like, I told my wife, I was like, babe, this is it. It's gonna work. It's gonna work like really good. Like this is like the best idea I ever had, because I've had a lot of crazy ideas. You know what I mean? Sure. And at the time I worked at a skate shop. And I was just doing sales, and it sucked. It was like a cool, shitty job, but it sucked. And I think I made my take home every 2 weeks was $1,500, which is not enough to live right now.
For the US, no. In Spain, it's like a good salary. But
in 2005 or so, it was all right, and we had a really cheap. We had such a good deal. We were paying like $1,000 a month for our apartment, and it was like a good location
in California, no?
Correct. Yeah. So to put that into perspective, now that same place is like $3,000 a month. And like our mortgage on the house we just bought is like $5,000. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's not enough. Me and my wife were both still working opposite schedule, so we didn't have to pay for childcare, anyways, so I quit my job within like 30 days of figuring out about how to sell books on Amazon. And really in the first year, we sold over 10,000 books.
Wow. At an average price of $15 maybe.
No, less, probably 12. 12, probably 10 or 12. But the difference was back then we could sell, and also we switched within maybe 3 or 4 months. We started messing with FBA, because that was the year FBA started. The first year it started, I got very lucky. And what I realized with FBA was that I could sell a book for $4, and back then you couldn't change your shipping price on Amazon. Everybody had a fixed shipping rate of $3.99 in the book category. So now you can put 0, you can put $6.99, you can put whatever you want.
FBM, you mean? Yeah.
FBM. But back then you could not adjust it. It was $3.99. Okay. FBM shipping for media. Yeah. And so someone could price a book for a penny, and then plus $3.99 shipping. And so they get $4, and then they, shipping was like $2.80. For bound printed matter or media mail or something. So they might make like $1.75. But I could sell a book FBA for $4 and still show up above them with Prime. Exactly. Even though it's the same price, my offer shows above because it's Prime. So what I realized was that like any book I could touch, basically, no matter how worthless it was, I could sell it FBA for $4 and make $1.35 payout. Yeah. So I started going from buying maybe like 2 or 5 bags or 8 bags of books on a really good day at the Goodwill outlet to buying like 40 bags every day, like 20 to 40, and most of them were full of books that I was only gonna make $1.35 on. Like I didn't even think about it. I would just scan it, and if it was a penny, and because the scanners weren't showing FBA prices yet. This was before Scanner showed FBA price, because FBA was less than 6 months new, and most people didn't know about it. So I would scan it, and if the average sales rank was really good and it was light, like less than a pound, yeah, I would, and a penny, boom, buying it, because I knew that would be $1.35, and I was probably only paying 20 cents for a book, so it was like 80 cents profit. But
It's
then
like a
later, exactly, and I was listing everything I was listing all of those books separately, just at like $3.99. I still didn't have a repricer. I still didn't know about changing your price or anything. And so later I started to realize, like, I don't have to do $3.99. I can go higher. $4.99, $5.99. I could go to the next FBA price new for $12, and I could do $11.25. $11.50, and people will still buy it. Maybe even like $11.89, and they'll still buy it. And so that was really good. That really helped me ramp up. But it's so funny, during my first year of selling on Amazon, we sold over 10,000 books, and I wasn't a pro merchant. I didn't know about being a pro merchant. I was I was an individual seller, because you got to remember, I started with no money. And so I didn't want to spend any money. I literally had to tell my wife, like, hey, I need to spend them. Like, this is crazy.
$40 per month.
No, we had we spent at that time, we spent maybe $500 a month on groceries. Yeah. And we had no money. And so I told my wife, I was like, look, I need to use our grocery money for 1 month to buy books. Yeah. And it's going to work. Trust me. And then she's like, well, what are we going to do? And I was like, we can just get food from the church. We'll get food from the church. We ate at the homeless shelter a couple times. You know, it sounds like really bad, but I grew up like really bad circumstances. So I knew that's how my family got food, from the church. Yeah. You know, I had Thanksgiving at the homeless shelter when I was a kid once, you know, but it was a big Thanksgiving. They had a lot of stuff. You just have to, you know, humble yourself. You know what I mean? You know, get your pride down or whatever.
By the way, I admire and respect your background. It's really tough, but to be honest, I'm like really happy that you are like in a great position now. But your story is not like this, like, I'm at home living with my parents selling on
No,
you are like from the streets, like really.
Nobody, you know, I think only one of my parents graduated high school. Nobody went to college. They never owned a house. They never had a brand new car. They didn't own a business. You know what I mean? I never got any money. I didn't have a trust fund or anything like that, you know? So
no, for sure.
But I do, you know, I learned a lot from growing up like that, because it was hard, right? And so it was easy to take a risk, because my life was already pretty shitty. Yeah. And so taking a risk does not seem as risky, because if the outcome is going to be so much better, that like, even if I fail, what's going to happen? I'll just be back where I started.
Yeah. I heard in your videos, like, I had nothing to lose. So I just think, ironically, sometimes it's like people that are in a worse position, like they have like more motivation or something to start, like,
exactly,
a rich kid. But I don't know, what do you think about nowadays environment? Like, I start drop shipping at home, like everything is so easy, but people are like, they don't have it, you know, like to fucking like save $10 on whatever.
Exactly. You know,
like,
people are crazy.
I need $100 repricer, whatever. Like, it's like,
well, so it's like, I mean, literally, like when I was starting and I needed money and I spent all the grocery money, like we drank water at home. That's it. Do you know what I mean? I would love to have orange juice. Do you know what I mean? But orange juice is expensive, and water is basically free. You know what I mean? And water is what you need anyways. So just shut the fuck up and drink water. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
people are like, I cannot start because I don't have like 5,000 euros. It's like, what do you mean? Like,
well, and also like my wife is Hispanic, and she's like an amazing caretaker. Mexican, no? She like takes care of me. Yeah. And so it's like, we love rice and beans. And guess what? For $20, you get a bag of rice and beans so big that will last a whole year. You know what I mean? It's like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, you eat rice and beans, that's poor people food. And I was like, no, I love rice and beans. I'll eat rice and beans forever. You know what I mean? Like, I love Mexican food. But it's, you know, I feel like nowadays kids are really soft, you know, like even today now, all these kids have electric bicycles. They're like $500 electric bicycles. They don't even have to pedal their fucking bikes anymore.
Yeah,
We used to have to, like I'm gonna go to Aitor's house.
Yeah.
Knock, 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 knock. Is Aitor here? No, he's not home. Where is he? I don't know. Go look for him,
I also like think about people, they complain like, I don't have an iPhone. I cannot post on Instagram because I don't have a good camera. It's like, what do you mean? You have a fucking Android 200 euro phone. It's enough,
Yeah,
You don't
no,
need
totally.
the iPhone to create content,
Definitely. Definitely.
It's a lot of weak people nowadays.
Yeah.
Where were we?
I don't know, but we were talking about FBA.
Yeah,
I think
first
just like
year,
FBA had just started. Yeah. Close to that probably. And we started doing more and more FBA. So, but at first it was just for the penny books. And then I started to realize I could raise the price higher. Then I started to realize like some books that I was selling for like $6 or $8 merchant fulfilled, that I could sell them for 25 FBA. Then I started getting really crazy and I started taking textbooks. So when you find a textbook that sells really well, but it's only selling for like $8 and it weighs 8 pounds, so you can't sell it really because it weighs too much.
Yeah.
So it's basically worthless. And so I was going to the Goodwill outlet with other booksellers every morning, like pigs at a feeding trough, like crazy, like straight piranhas. And everyone would throw back their books, right? But people would go through each other's throwbacks because everyone has like different ways of doing stuff, or you sell some to the used bookstore, or you have your own bookstore or whatever. You sell lots on eBay. And I started buying almost all the textbooks that my competition would throw back because, yes, it was 8 pounds and only worth $8 merchant fulfilled, but I could sell it for FBA $25, $50. You know what I mean? And so, and then I just kept scaling that up. And then I started, I remember one day I was looking at a book to buy it and I was like, well, this book only sells for like $8 or whatever. But then I saw the next FBA price after $8 was like 25. And so I just right there when at the Goodwill, I just bought the $8 one, and now the lowest price was 25. And I was like, holy shit, you could control the market. It's, you know what I mean? Like you can make the price higher by buying out the offers. And then when they come, send them back to FBA at a higher price, which you could still do, but obviously not as much as back then. So we had over 10,000 books in a storage unit, dry stored.
10,000.
Before we had up to 10,000 in our apartment upstairs, second story apartment, and the floor was like sagging like this. We had shelves everywhere with books, but we ran out of room, so we started putting them in boxes.
Was your wife annoyed at that time? No.
No, she worked with me every day. She helped me get books, helped me ship books. The only thing she didn't do was the computer stuff. So she didn't list books or make shipments or any of that, but she helped me put everything together or whatever. She's way hard worker. But eventually we ran out of space, so we started putting everything in this closet, right? And it was like 4 boxes this way, 4 boxes this way, 4 boxes high. So when we had to pull orders, it sucked because you would have to pull all the boxes out to find the right box where the books are at. But what else are we gonna do, So eventually we got a long like a freight container on someone's property, and we just lined that thing all the way around and in the middle back to back, and we were able to put 10,000 books in there. But it was crazy because we were still using PDAs, and we didn't have cell phones, and our storage locker didn't have internet, right? Wow. So when we would take our books to the storage locker, I would list them into a spreadsheet on my phone, like using a pocket version of Excel because it's a Microsoft PDA. So it has a pocket version of Excel. So I was listing, just scan the barcode into the column and then put the number 1, 2, 3, 4 for the condition.
Then you were going to
and then also what shelf did I put it on?
Oof.
right? And because like you have some here and some here and some here. And so then we list them all and I have the spreadsheet, and then I would go home and put the spreadsheet on the computer and upload with the inventory loader spreadsheet, still not using any software on the computer side. You know what I mean?
Essential, no?
And then when books sold, I would get the orders. I would trim the order report down to just the book title and then the shelf number and order it, and print it. And then we would go drive 5 miles to our storage, and it didn't have electricity. So we would wear headlamps, and then look and find the book, pull it out, and then go home and wrap books, from 5 p.m. until midnight.
Oof.
Because we were selling like 100 books a day.
Per day, no?
And we weren't very fast. We didn't understand how to be like fast about it. We were still learning. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And so I remember at one point, my neighbor, who was a really good friend of mine, he comes over and he was like, "Mike, I got a deal for you." And I'm like, "What's up?" And he's like, "I need $500 to pay rent, and I need it today." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "So here's the deal." He's like, "If you pay me $500 right now, I'll wrap all of your orders for 1 month." Wow. All of your orders for 1 month. And that's the fastest I ever gave anyone $500.
First employee, no?
Yeah, first employee. Shout out Big Mike. And he's very good with systems. So when he started wrapping the books, he was like, right away, he was like, "Hey, when you print the order sheet or the postage, can you make the postage come out alphabetically?" And then he was like, make the pull list alphabetic too. And then he was wrapping them in alphabetic order. You know what I mean? But he was also, he wasn't like wrapping it. He would like take the book, put it in the mailer, write the customer name down. Take the book, put in the mailer, write the customer name down. Take the book, put in the mail. You know what I mean? Like that. Keep it in the order. And then go through and close it, tape it, close it, tape it, close it, tape it, and then go through and weigh it, write it, weigh it, write it, weigh it, write it. And then tell me to print the postage, and then they come out and it's all the same order. Do you know what I mean? So he made a system which made it much faster. But the reason is because he got a bad deal. He got the money he needed to pay rent. He knew it was a bad deal. That's why he needed it. You know what I mean? But he didn't want to stay at my house. He wanted to go. He lived next door, but he didn't want to stay till 1 a.m. wrapping books. So he figured out how to be faster with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I understand.
So that was kind of the first year. And then after that, it was just, going and getting as much books as possible. We would always go to the Goodwill outlet in the morning and then go to different thrift stores. We would go to yard sales, flea market. If there was a storage locker auction or estate sale, we would do that as well. And we were eventually 100% FBA. And I started.
What year were you 100% FBA?
2006, something
Already?
like that. Yeah, pretty quickly. And then,
yeah.
or no. I want to say it was like, it might have been 2007 or 8 before. So what happened was, what we did was we started sending everything to FBA, but we still had a storage locker full of those 10,000 books. And so we would still go there to pull books when they sold, but it became less and less because we were all sending all the new stuff to FBA. And then at one point I was like, I'm so tired of the storage. Let's box everything up and send it all to FBA. Yeah. And so that was a couple years later that we finally did that. But earlier we had already decided we're going to send everything FBA, like when we get it or whatever.
It was gradually, obviously.
Yeah. And then my next employee was like, my dad needed some money. And I was like, hey, well, if you want to help me, pack these shipments off to FBA, or if you come with me to get books at the Goodwill, I can pay you for an hour each day. Cause the books only come out in the morning. So it's only like, just show up and meet me there. Help me get the books for 1 hour. I'll pay you $20 and then you leave, So every day you could make $20 just for 1 hour. And then, meet me back at the house. And there's, a few more hours of processing the books we just got to make FBA shipments and send those off. Yeah. And then eventually.
How many shipments were you doing at that time? Like per week?
Like 1 to 2 a week. But they were big. They were like 300, 500, 1,000 units, like we were starting to do pallets within the second year.
Wow.
And then
I remember your content.
I had, I would always have like, if I had people with me, like, hey, you want to make $20? Like come meet me at the Goodwill, because the more people you bring, the more books you could get. Exactly. You know what I mean? Cause it's like at the piranhas, you know what I mean? So the more people you have on your team, the better you're going to do. And eventually, my little brother moved in with me. So he was working with me every day and then making shipments.
How old is he, your little brother?
He's I don't know. He's probably like 25 now.
15 less, no?
Yeah,
Approximately.
something like that.
Yeah, great.
And then I had we had like a big house with a bunch of rooms, and so we had rented it out to some friends. And then my friend Big Mike was working with me again, but we would all go every
Great.
day. And then I broke my foot one year skateboarding, and then I couldn't go anymore. And so then they just went without me. So that was 2016 or late 2015 when I broke my foot. And I used to think that like if I don't go, it's not going to work. But then I broke my foot and I couldn't really go, and so I had to make it work. And so they went without me, and it wasn't as good, but it was like 70%. You know, I'm sure they were being a little lazy, you know, when the boss isn't around or whatever. But it still worked out, and it made me realize like, oh, I can scale it. I can like at least you know what I mean. I can get delegate. That's the word I was looking for. And then when I was at home that year, you know, that was also the around the time I found the copy of Crush It, you know, right before I broke my foot. And then I found that book and I read it and I was like, I'm going to do this. And then I started, you know, overnight, I made like the social media and everything. And like that
2015.
No. Yeah. 2015. And then I broke my foot like the same week I found that book. I broke my foot, and I had already I have a friend, Garrett Jenner, who's a YouTuber, skateboarder, and he has like probably 1 million subscribers by now. But I asked him, I was like, "Hey, is this YouTube thing real? Like, I want to do it." And he pulls out his phone and shows me a deposit 20,000 from Google. Yeah. And he's younger than me. He's like 25 now.
In those times, it was a lot.
Yeah, and I was like, holy shit, okay, I'm off to work, you know. Then I broke my foot, and then that just accelerated because I'm just sitting at home.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I have more time. Yeah, so that's basically when Reezy Resells started, was January 2016. I started making content, YouTube, social media, or not social media, Snapchat, YouTube, Instagram. I don't think Instagram. I'm not sure if Instagram had videos yet.
I'm not sure. I'm thinking right now. So I basically started following you since year one. I think I think you started like maybe 2014 or something, but no. I think I followed you 2017 or maybe in the end of 16. You had like 5,000 followers.
I remember we talked a lot, and like shout out to you. Like it's a sign of your intelligence because like you said, I told you how it works, and it works, but you're like, hey, do you think it'll work in Spain? And I was like, I probably said something like, do people buy books on Amazon in Spain?
Do you have internet?
Or like, do you have Amazon? Like, do you guys have computers in Spain? Like, you have electricity, right? Electricity. So, and you were like, yeah. And I was like, yeah, it's, for sure. It's got to work, but like, it's going to be different, you know, like I'm sure people buy less. And so the sales ranks don't match up, but the core concept is the same.
Pretty similar.
You know, like exactly.
95% similarity. Yeah.
Exactly. And so like you're saying, oh, it's like 10 times less, you know? And I think for a long time, every country had to basically do that because they didn't have the data. So they used the US data as proxy. You know, so like you're saying like, oh, 100,000 in Spain is like 1 million in US.
More or less.
And so I'm guessing you were just using the Amazon seller app then at first?
In the beginning, yes.
Yeah. Some people were actually just use the US app. Do you know what I mean? And then just divide it by 10.
Or 50.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Whatever. Yeah. You'll learn. The 10, is that not good enough? More 20?
I remember when I started in the beginning, I saw a video that you sold 650,000 of used books, and I'm like, I can do 50,000, 10% of that, you know. And I scaled it to 6 figures, like in 2 years, more or less. And nice. I stayed in this range in 6 figures. I didn't scale more, but I'm selling 6 figures per year, which is quite good. You know what I mean?
Right. And that was enough for you to quit your job?
Yeah, I really didn't have a job. Like my story is kind of different. I was studying in the university. I was around 20, and I left university and I started like teaching math lessons to kids and selling on Amazon and eBay. It's funny because I also started with eBay, And then 6 months later, I discovered FBA. And maybe a year later, I discovered you, Gary Vee, Watch Me Amazon, and all that. But
How did
I
you
like
find
your
me? Was
video.
it from a YouTube video or was it from
I'm
the
not,
Gary Vee thing?
no, Gary Vee, no. I think, I'm not sure how I found you, but I think it was YouTube, maybe, because I was trying to find information about sales rank, FBA shipments, whatever. And in the beginning, I think I found your videos scanning books and all that, and I started following you. Then you created Instagram, and we started talking and all that. But
Yep.
I like the video where you are talking about that you're scanning books literally, and you find that copy of the crash sheet, and then you start like creating content. I also started like my personal brand in Spanish because
Yep.
of Gary Vee mainly. Like he was a big influence, and I think you were influenced too by Gary Vee, no, to start your
Yeah,
personal
no,
brand.
100%. That's the only reason I started because
Me
before
too.
I found Gary Vee's book, I wanted to do YouTube because I'm a skateboarder, so I've been
Yeah.
making videos for a long time. That's what we do. We film it, we make videos, with your friends or whatever. And I thought I was gonna be like a vlogger, like a Casey Neistat or
Yeah,
something,
yeah, yeah.
because it to
New
me
York
it just
vibe.
looked, yeah, well, it just looked like a skate video. It just looked fun, with music
Yeah,
editing, and it was
tasty, yeah.
fun. Um, but then I read Gary Vee's book and I was like, "Oh, I'm stupid. Like I have this valuable gift in my head
Knowledge.
and you just unlock it, yeah, and just give it to people." And to be honest, it's funny that I didn't realize that because growing up, I did that a lot. I still do that. Like I
Yeah.
share all the time, like with people. Like if you came over to my house and you were just like, my Xbox controller broke, I'm like, "Oh, you want to borrow mine?" Like, but then I'd be like, "I need two. I only have one." I'm like, "Ah, fuck." Like, do you know what I mean? Like I share
Yeah,
so
yeah.
much that it sometimes backfires on me. But like, it's like my go-to, especially with knowledge, because it doesn't cost you anything to share knowledge. But like
Exactly.
growing
Yeah.
up with my friends, like skateboarding and being outside in the summer, I didn't have any money and I didn't want to go home like I was telling you. And so like when you have a group of friends, you have like 5 or 10 friends, somebody has money. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if someone gets food, or even if someone has food, they share with everybody. If you
It's
don't
a different
share,
vibe, no? Yeah.
you're going to get beat up by your own
Yeah.
friends. You know what I mean? And if you, at the very least, if you don't share, they're not going to share with you next time. You know what I
More
mean?
humble, Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. And so, and I never had any money. So I had to find out how to provide value to my friends. And so I would do things like, I told you we would run like scams at the amusement park. Well, I lived by the amusement park. So I would teach my friends and we would just go there and then, make $20 and then we would go off and get ice cream and pizza
Yeah.
or whatever, or I used to be like we would have no money and I'd be like, "All right, check it out. We're going to go to the pizza place and we're going to pretend to play video games in the arcade. And when some family leaves from eating and they have slices left on their table, we just real quickly walk over to the table, grab the slices and go out the back door." Do you know what I mean? Like that's how we're going to get food. Or we would have like,
That reality that a lot
yeah,
of people, we don't realize that people are struggling. Like you can be struggling a lot, and
yeah.
it's
And
not
then
that easy out there.
also like,
I'm lucky
I,
to have like a good family, whatever. Like I'm not, I wasn't in your situation, but I know how it is to be like, fuck, I don't have money to pay rent in Madrid or whatever. When
right.
I started, it was like making 500 euro per month. My rent was 300, then like 200 euro left for food. It's
Oh
different.
yeah, 100%. Yeah. I used to keep buy one get one free food coupons in my wallet like it was money. So like Burger King will have a like buy one get one free Whopper,
That was
and I would
insane.
take the coupons and I would put them in my wallet, whether they came from the newspaper or whatever. I would get a bunch and I would keep it in
Yeah.
my wallet. And if I was hungry and there was a Burger King, I would go there and say, "Hey, sir, here's 2
And you,
coupons for buy one get one free. Can you use one of them to get me a free burger when you buy your food? And
yeah.
you can have the other one." And then they're like, "Sure." And because it cost them nothing unless they're an asshole. And then you get free food. And so I would teach my friends that, you know what I mean? And then they'd be like, "Oh, thanks, Reezy." Like that
Yeah,
works.
yeah,
Now we can go skate again. We ate some food, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
I think that because I didn't have a lot of money at all. And I was
yeah,
neglected. I learned how to get people's attention. And
yeah,
then I also learned how to recognize opportunity. Like when
yeah,
I see stuff, I'm like, You know what I mean? Other people just see stuff,
That
and I'm just
business
like,
perspective. Yeah.
yeah, like, and it's still, it's like a disease, to be honest, because now I do stuff like, if I watch a movie, let's say we're watching a Spider-Man, and
Yeah.
all the cars in the movie are Mercedes.
Yes.
I really want to know how much Mercedes paid for that. Like, how much did
Advertising, you
Mercedes
mean, no?
pay?
Yeah.
To put every car in the movie is Mercedes, or did they just donate a bunch of cars to be rented to used for the production? Or
You're always
something. Do you know what I
thinking.
mean? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what is it? You know what I mean? Like in Spider-Man, I remember there's like this scene. I forget which one, but there's like this scene where his friend figures out he's Spider-Man, and he has like the Lego Death Star, and he's playing, and he drops it, and it breaks because he's like, "Oh my God, you're Spider-Man." In
Yeah.
that scene, like in the script, it said like, in the script it said like advertising opportunity. It didn't say he's here playing with Lego. You know what I mean? It said
Yeah, yeah.
advertising opportunity, and it was someone else's job to figure out who they were going to sell that ad to and then write it into the script. So how much did Lego pay for Spider-Man's friend to be holding a Death Star Lego and drop it, and it blew up? Do you know what I mean? Like, if I'm having dinner at the restaurant and it's taking too long, and I'm like looking at the restaurant and I'm like, the tables are in the bad place. Like, the tables need to be over here. You know what I mean? Like, so that they can go like this. And like, it's like I'm having this sickness where I'm always trying to think about like, how could it make more money? How could you do it faster? How could you make the experience better? You know? Yeah, exactly. So it's like laziness, super evolved.
Going back to your personal brand, what we were saying, you started because of Gary Vee, and if you can talk a little bit about your progress as a YouTuber, you are almost at 500,000 on YouTube. You helped like thousands of people start selling on Amazon and influenced a lot of people.
Yeah.
How did you how did you go from 0 to 500,000 on YouTube and 0 to 100K on Instagram, etc.?
So basically just like with a lot of continued effort. And so also a lot of stuff that I had done in the past, specifically on like Instagram to grow, probably doesn't work anymore. So, like I follow people and like follow for follow, not really like follow for follow, but just like, hey, I'm going to follow you, and then I'm going to write a lot of comments. You know what I mean? And then if when you see my comments and you're like, that guy's smart and he follows me, I'm going to follow him back. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah, just different ways you can get on their show up in people's notifications, from following, from commenting, all kinds of stuff. So
it worked well. Like
and just mostly just being consistent. But I'm not gonna lie. Like, obviously, I think when Gary Vee, when that clip was like, I sold 650,000 on Amazon, that was when Gary Vee released the Ask Gary Vee book. And I remember it was really hard for me to get on that live stream. I had to go on Meerkat because Periscope and everything. There was 3 things, but they were all too full. I couldn't comment. And so I had to win on Meerkat, which is out of business now. And so he saw that, and then I was like, hey, Gary, like I emailed him, like, can I use this in my YouTube videos? And he said, go ahead. And so then I put that in the intro of my YouTube. And I think that probably helped convert a little bit. But also at the same time, you got to remember that when I started teaching about Amazon on YouTube, I was completely different than everybody else. Everybody else on YouTube that was teaching was like 50 years old, older white males, most of them. There wasn't anybody that could wear a hat. You know what I mean? Nobody wearing a hat. Nobody wearing a hat backwards. You know, nobody from the streets. Nobody talking like so. I was like refreshing to most people because I look like I'm a regular ass dude. And other like a friend they know, or their friend who's a skateboarder, or like Reezy's kind of like my friend who's a skate. Like, you know what I mean? It was relatable versus like natural. For me, it was very natural. Versus like other people where you're like, they have a suit on, they have greasy hair, you know what I mean? They have a Lamborghini that's probably rented. You know what I mean? And so so you don't know.
And training, sign up to my training.
Hey, I'm doing it now too. So, but like, you know what I mean? You couldn't trust him. You didn't feel like you could trust him. At least I couldn't. And so when I started, I was like, I never started YouTube to sell courses. So I just started selling courses in 2024. And so that was at 8 years of YouTube before I started selling courses. And I started because I saw what other people were selling and what they were charging, and I thought it was ridiculous.
Yeah,
And so I
it's
was like, this is
I agree.
bullshit. Like, you're charging people like 10, 15,000 for something I could tell them in 30 minutes. Like,
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
bullshit.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so
I
I
agree with
felt like
you.
I was kind of like a, in my head anyways, like a superhero. Like, I was liberating. I was like,
No,
nah,
for sure. Like
the knowledge is supposed to be free. That's how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, yeah. I followed you like since 2017, 7 years or whatever, 8 years, and I always admired that you never had that like idea of buy my course, like a funnel. It was just knowledge, helping, and of course you can sell a course, but you need like morals, not like
right.
telling people you're gonna become a millionaire, whatever that bullshit. It's
Right.
just
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
And
I like to
I
tell,
respect you. I
I like to
respect you a
tell
lot,
people that, like, hey, you could definitely make some extra money.
for
And depending
sure.
on how much money you make right now at your job and how hard you want to work on Amazon, you might be able to replace your income. You know,
But
I
it's
think
not easy.
anybody, yeah, anybody, I think it's easy and or simple, but it's still hard work. It's
Simple, but not
simple. Yeah,
exactly.
simple
Yeah.
but not easy. Yeah, like a lot of stuff, is in business is like you're guessing.
I would
There's
say it takes like a few years, like people that promise you in 3 months you can be 3 months, no, I think you need 1, 2 years minimum to like establish,
Yeah, I think so. Since I started a mentorship
coaching, no?
program.
Yeah,
Yeah, since January, where I work with people one on one, and we have a private group and everything.
yeah,
It's not cheap, but it's definitely worth it, and I'm very invested in my students'
for sure.
success. So now that I've been doing it for almost 4 months, we're starting to have people that have been in for 2.5 to 3 months, and they're breaking 10,000 a month in sales for retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. So
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
very confident these people are going to do 100,000 in sales in their first year.
But with
But
your
it's
help.
well, yeah, we I created a whole course, 100
Yeah,
video plus. We meet 2 times a week for 2 hours each
that's
time.
great, man.
They have
Yeah,
direct
yeah,
access to me. They can text me. We have group
that's good.
messages
Yeah, yeah.
too. I have the Discord. They get access to the Discord, as a bonus for being in the high ticket program.
Yeah, and
But
for
it's
sure they
like,
have money to invest in
yeah, yeah,
product.
exactly. Yeah, well, some people less, some people
Yeah,
maybe only had 4,000 and they spent most of it joining the program.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
they starting a little slow, but as long as they're ready to work, I can't do the work for them, but I can help them, and answer all their questions. And if I can't, I will bring somebody else to tell them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I pretty much know a lot of people. But yeah, I'm really confident they're going to do, 100. A lot of them are going to do six figures in their first year, and some of them are going to
No,
do
no,
over a quarter million in their first year. It
I'm
just really depends on
yeah,
how
yeah,
hard they work, because some people are like, I don't know, I don't know. No, a lot of people, some people don't trust the process, and I'm like,
yeah.
look, I told you this works, so just go scan a couple thousand items. So you find, because you don't know what you're doing, but go scan a couple thousand items,
Yeah,
and when you find
exactly.
it, you'll find a couple, at least that are good, and you'll feel good, and you'll get confidence, and you're like, oh yeah, it works, and
Yeah,
then you
yeah,
keep
yeah.
going, and you get better and better and better.
100%. Yeah, yeah. I was doing a podcast like last week with another guy in the US, but in Spanish. And it's like, it's good to watch videos or buy a course. Okay, it's fine. But learning, scanning, going to the streets, scanning products, you learn way more than just at home, watching
Yeah, like
YouTube videos.
if you, so some people in my community, we find out they live, an hour or a half hour away from each other, and this person's a new student,
Yeah.
but this one's already doing 5,000 or 10,000 a month, and so I just put them together, like, hey, you
Great.
go work. Can this person come work with you for one day? They'll work for you for free for one day. That will help
Exchange
you
knowledge.
source items, buy more items. That will help you go make a shipment, and that is invaluable for that person who's just starting to see firsthand, to have that experience. Like, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
do that for people myself, but I mean, maybe that's like a 10,000. For 10,000, I'll fly to your location and go with
yeah,
you.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean? Or something. But I mean, I know how valuable it is. So it's like 100% true. Like, I even
Yeah.
tell people, like, look, if they want to do online arbitrage, and I was like, you need to do RA first, a little bit, just a
I
little
really
bit.
agree with that. Yeah.
because it's easier to learn it and have the product in your hand, and you're going to make mistakes. And I would rather you make mistakes before you send it to FBA. You know what I mean? Just like even if they want to do FBA, I also say, hey, sell a couple things merchant fulfilled first. Because if you can't list an item and ship it to the customer, one item, you know
just
what I mean?
To know,
like,
you know,
like how the fuck are you going to be good at FBA if you can't even just ship one item to a customer?
I laugh a little bit about these people that they want to start in Amazon FBA. Like, I don't want to touch the product. I just want to buy from China. Don't talk with anyone. Just make 5,000 euro per month. It's like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, or people that are like
a little bit, you know.
People that are like, I just need, what's a good selling product? Tell me what the hot seller is, and I'm like, it's not the hot seller. It's bullshit products that are boring. Go scan everything, and you will find stuff that you're like, you can't even believe that it sells. You'd never heard of it before, and it's just like it's not
annoying. This,
like
Spanish is el producto ganador, the winning product. It's like, you don't need one product, you just need hundreds of products,
Yeah, I mean, hopefully you could get more than one of some, you know what I mean? But that's kind of how it starts. Like, the most I could tell you is like buy brand name stuff that people like big brands, like all the stuff we see. Nike, fucking Adidas, Crest, Under Armour, fucking Arm & Hammer deodorant, just all of the stuff that everybody used. They're all products, it's, you want to do private label.
It's in Keepa, everything is there.
Yeah. Private label is much harder. You know what I mean? It's definitely, I'm not saying it doesn't work at all, but I think that as a new seller, if you want to quit your job, good luck doing private label. That's going to take 1 to 2 years to quit your job. But if you bust your ass, I could probably help you quit your job, depending on how much you make, in 3 months with books or retail arbitrage.
No, I agree. And
3 to 6 months.
For private label, also good luck with your capital, because maybe you need 10,000 euros or dollars to start.
Yeah, and another 5,000 to buy the next shipment. Before the first one even gets to FBA.
No, but it really works. I did podcasts with people of private label in Spain, and it works. But the thing is, it's also quite difficult, and you need to.
I mean, no, I know it definitely works, and like, I'm not throwing it under the bus. Like, for example, private label is the best Amazon business out of all of the businesses as far as being able to sell it, or being able to scale it, and being able to make a system. You can't sell a retail arbitrage business. You can't sell an online arbitrage business. You might be able to sell wholesale, but even it's kind of like, what are you really selling? Your warehouse, your employees, your systems, your relationships with suppliers. It's kind of bullshit, because products come in and out, and you always have to look for more products and more suppliers, and that's a hard thing to train someone to do. So it's still harder. But private label, you could sell and for $1 million, $5 million, and it will be at the store. You'll see, I made that product. I made that brand. It's at the store.
I've interviewed people in my podcast in Spanish, a girl that sold the brand, and it's quite impressive, and I'm happy for them,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
It's not as easy as the fucking courses tell you to. Alibaba, China, whatever. No, it's not like this. It's a lot of work. And
have you let me bring a little bit of value to your listeners real quick. Have you heard of the Amazon influencer program?
Yes. Affiliates, you mean?
No, influencer program. Different.
No, tell me.
Amazon influencer program, sign up for it today. But you sign up in the US. Sign up in the US first. So the Amazon influencer program, it allows us to upload videos to Amazon to review products, or you can just show a product. And then if you're lucky, your video gets put on the product detail page. Okay. So when customers are looking at the pictures of a product to purchase, and then they see a video, and the first video is from the company. It's like a commercial. The next video, it could be from me. And I'm just like, hey, this is, I really like this. I really like this controller. I've had this for 6 months. It hasn't broken. It holds a charge for a long time. The buttons all still work. And I like that it has USB-C. Boom, that's it. One take, 30-second video. If they watch that video before they buy, I make 3% commission.
Which is not bad.
But but it's very, you got to understand that's very valuable that Amazon puts the video on the product detail page. So if you, different categories have different percentages of revenue that you earn, up to like 4 or 5%. And products that cost more money, you get more money when it sells, right? But so the goal is like looking for products that sell very well, which we know how to do as sellers, right? That also that have at least one influencer video on it, but not 6, because 6 is the max. So if there's less than 6 slots, your video will go on there. But also it's expensive, sells regularly, so like something like $100 is a good price point, because when that sells, you'll make like $3 or $5. And like, for example, I bought a product like a week ago for $80. I bought it. So when I buy products for myself now, I pick certain ones. Like, I need this item. Okay, well, I'm going to buy one that sells a lot and doesn't have a lot of videos, so I have a chance to get on there. And you make a video real quick. And so this video has only been live for like 2 or 3 days, and I've sold 9 units, and I make $5 each time. So I paid 80 for it, and I made $45 back in 2 days. So if it's a summer related product, so it's going to go more and more. Like I have a garden. I've been buying a lot of garden stuff, scissors, seeds, sprayer, plant bags, pots, all that stuff, and those are selling really well right now. Today I only make like 80 cents when someone buys some pots. Well, but I think I sold like 15 today. You know what I mean? And that's just one day, and it's recurring. So it's like, to put that into perspective, I did a lot of work on print on demand for Amazon merch, or merch on demand. I have about 2,000 listings on there now. I don't touch it anymore. I haven't touched it for over a year. It makes me like $200 to $500 a month, but that was years of work, of paying a virtual assistant to make designs, upload, etc. I have put only 20 hours of work into the whole Amazon influencer thing, probably less, like 15. And I'm making $300 to $500 a month. Here's this. Check this out. I told a student of mine about it, and he went ape shit crazy. In his first month, he put up 350 videos on Amazon. Wow. Then he started doing the TikTok shop influencer thing as well. It's a little different, because on Amazon, your video goes on the product page. On TikTok, you have to make your video viral. Then when the video goes viral, then they have the link and you make it. So my friend Miggity Mike, he did $2,700 his first 30 days on Amazon influencer program, and $4,200 on TikTok. So his first 30 days on the influencer program, and this is someone who's been selling, used books, media, arbitrage on Amazon for years, since like 2018. In 30 days, he made $7,000. Yeah. $7,000. Even if he doesn't grow it, that's fucking $85,000 a year. Like he's gonna do 100,000 more for his first year of influencer commission. And I just saw Walmart has a creator influencer program now too. Yeah, so we're going into this era where companies are realizing that UGC, user generated content, converts better than the videos they make to sell their products, because people are desensitized to commercial videos where the video's perfect, it has background music, like the lighting is perfect. Like when you go to the restaurant and you see the picture of the food, that's fake. Do you know what I mean? That's like fucking ceramic. That's like a clay sculpture. You know what I mean? The real burger looks like shit, so it's like the user showing what it really is, like I could even say, I don't like it. It doesn't matter, because I get commission on anything you buy for the next 24 hours after you click on my video, if it's in the same category. And so thank you for crazy opportunity.
This little tip. I was going to tell you it has similarities with TikTok Shop, but I'm also thinking for the people that want to start like a side hustle, but they don't have like cash to invest in product. Just go this route of creating
everybody in America and anywhere else, if you have internet, you should do it, because you should sign up too on the American one first, because anybody can get approved. But because America's the first one that started, they have it already in UK, Canada, Japan, Italy, a lot of different countries, but it's not ready yet. So it's like I can put videos over there, Italy, Japan, Europe, Canada, but I don't have a dashboard. I don't have a dashboard yet. On the US, we have a dashboard, we have analytics, we have reporting. So it's going to get better everywhere else. But first, you get approved on the US, because then when you go to Japan, UK, Canada, you get approved automatically. If you try to apply right now to Spain, Italy, UK, Canada, you can't get approved through that platform because they don't have it yet. The architecture is not there yet. But if you get approved US, auto approved to everywhere else. And they're just now starting to show videos. Like last month, I put all my videos on other marketplaces. And last month I made like $20 Canada, 15 pounds UK. But then this month, $0. And so they're still fucking with it. You know what I mean? They're not, it's not, you know what I mean? But eventually it will be like how merch on demand is now, to where if I upload, huge. If I upload a design on merch US, merch on demand, automatically publishes it everywhere. EU, you know, Europe, Japan, fuck everywhere. But back in the day when I was doing it heavily, I had to upload separate to each one.
Separately.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't a unified experience. So So, I mean, seriously, if you're listening to this and you want to make some money, this is by far the easiest money. It is unbelievably easy for anybody to do it. You review everything in your house. Then if it's on Amazon, you can review it. I'm talking books, fucking anything. If it's there, you can review it, and you might as well. 30-second video, one take. If you mess up, I don't care. Put it anyways. Then go to your family's house, review all their stuff. You know what I mean? Some people are going to Airbnb, review everything in the Airbnb, right? I talked to one guy who goes to the library to check books out every week. He reviews all those books, then takes back to the library and gets 50 more books every week.
It's like free, you just need
100%.
time.
You just make content. It's content on demand, not print on demand. You know what I mean? But because we're Amazon sellers, we have an advantage because we know what a good product is. We know how to tell that there's sales volume. So there is some tools now that people are making to make it easy to analyze, like, this is a good product to do. This is a bad one. Yeah. But we don't need those as Amazon sellers because we already know. We already know. The one thing that's different is just looking to see how many people have videos on it.
I like this concept. And I like how you are always like up to date, like every year you're like, you can do this. This is new. Like, I like it. Thank you for sharing this value. I was going to ask you like tips to get started, but I think your YouTube channel, it's better. I don't think we need to talk that much about how to start on retail arbitrage, whatever. I just want to end the podcast with like 2 or 3 questions about
let's do it.
How do you feel in the US with taxes, politically, and all that stuff? How do you operate? How many employees do you have right now? What are your main sources of income and all that? Okay,
so politics. I don't really want to talk politics. I'll probably get in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's whatever you did. Be a nice person, and follow the laws. But things. I live in California, so I'm like I probably have a lot of different viewpoints than a lot of people that live in California. I tend to go more conservative now, like we homeschool. I don't want to send my kid to public school. Like, I don't know. It seems really weird because I thought I was going to be like a Democrat, and now I'm older and I think things changed or something. I don't know. But I just want to do what I want to do. I don't want to hurt anybody, and I don't want the government to be involved in my life. Like, I agree. Fuck off to the government. Let me do my thing. You know what I mean? And whatever. So there's that. But
did you think of moving like to another state or something?
Nah, the weather is too good. The weather is too good here, man. I can't. I've lived in a couple other places, and I've been to Hawaii a lot. It's too hot. Too humid mostly. Kansas sucks, really hot, 110, 115 in the summer, freezing, black ice, frozen road in the winter. We don't really have real seasons in California. We have like spring and summer and like kind of fall, I guess, but you know what I mean? It doesn't, no winter, it doesn't freeze. In the winter, it rains a little bit. That's our winter. You know what I mean? So like in the winter, there's like 2 months where we use the heater in the house. That's it, for only at night and in the morning. but we don't have air conditioner. The weather's too good. I can't leave. You know, it's my home.
You love
know
the
what I
weather,
mean?
no? That's
Yeah,
why
the weather is amazing. But what was the other question? Oh, taxes. Taxes are
Related
fucked, man. So we pay.
taxes.
I'm in the 30% tax bracket federally. That means to the country. But California state also has a 13% tax. So 43%. Yeah. So 43 cents. Yeah. So every dollar I make, I only get 57 cents.
Fuck.
Yeah, and but that's, you know what I mean. You know how you own a business, so that's for all the money on paper that I have to submit. So like you get a good accountant, you get your CPA is good, like you can do stuff. You know, you can write off, you can live in your business a little bit. You know, if I need a new suit or something, the business can pay for it. If you know, if I'm doing work with my car, the business can pay for the gas. You know, maybe it's a leased vehicle for the business. You know, maybe I need a haircut. I'm going to a conference, business. You know what I mean? You know, me and my wife are talking business at dinner, business meal. You know what I mean? My cell phone, business. You know what I mean? Like not everything, but like to a good portion. And the more businesses you have too, the better it is. Cause I have the Amazon business and then I also have Reezy Media, the social media. Yeah. So I can write some stuff off on this one and some stuff off on this one, and they have separate tax returns. You know what I mean? Like it's different. And it, so like the tax laws benefit the business owners, and the more businesses you have, the more places you can stuff all your expenses or whatever. But
trust me, you are, California is not that great, but trust me, you are better than in Spain or Europe, because
you said 50%.
Yeah, but it's not only about the income tax, which is up to 49%. It's about the persecution, you know, of the IRS here in Spain. And for example, the write-offs, forget about your write-offs. It's like super limited. US is way better, but comparing like California to Florida or something, it's
I'm sure. I try to explain it to my wife too. I'm like, look, if we move to Puerto Rico, no taxes. No taxes. And then she's like, well, how much? And I was like, we paid $30,000 in tax last year. And she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, we could have bought your mom a car.
30,000.
Wow. Yeah, I was like, if we lived in fucking Puerto Rico, I could have bought your mom a car. You know what I mean? Come on. You know what I mean? Like, or a house somewhere in the United States. There's some shitty place. There's a house for 30,000. You know, like It's at some point it becomes a real money. You know, and you maybe want to think about it.
I think it's getting worse and worse, and we have a problem here in Spain, in Europe. A lot of young people, especially like online entrepreneurs, are leaving to like Andorra, Portugal, Dubai, US, also like Miami, etc. It's a huge problem, but I don't want to talk much about it. It's like super annoying.
Yeah, no, I always tell people like, look, I don't even like to talk about taxes because I get a stomach ache. So like, you know, like, and I don't know what it's like. I guess when you don't have a business, I remember, you know, you file your little thing and you get some money back maybe or whatever. I'm fucking with the IRS all year now, all year long, every 3 months, they're sending me something about this or that. And it's like, it's not like I'll pay. Right. But then like, let's say this happened to me last year. Last year I paid and then they sent me a check back. Right. And it wasn't a little bit. It was like $8,000, $8,000. And they send me this check. And then I'm like, what is this check for? And nobody knows. Nobody knows. Magic check. And so I left the check on my desk for 3 or 4 months, 8,000. And I was like, fuck this. I'm going to cash this check. You know what I mean? So I cashed it. And then a year later, they send me a mail and saying, hey, we accidentally sent you that $8,000 last year, and now we need it back plus interest. That was a mistake. So they're like, yeah, that 8,000, that's now 11,000, and you need to send that back to us. And so then I have to pay my CPA to, you know, talk to them. And like work a deal or whatever to get it back to 8,000 because it wasn't my fault, you know. So file abatement, go back to 8,000, and then you know, then we have to prove it to them or whatever. And then I'm like, eventually they're just like, fine, give us 2,000 and we'll be okay. And I'm like, good, fine. But like every time it's like arguing and negotiating, and then eventually I'm just like, just tell me how much I need to pay so you can just get the hell out of my life for at least 3 more months. You know what I mean? Like, so
Like, to be
it's
honest, it's
it's
insane.
insane. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
taxes
I
are
don't want to
terrible.
talk more about
What
taxes,
was
but
the other question?
yeah, no. Basically, how do you operate? Like, how many employees do you have right now? And what are like your main sources of income? Like
Yeah.
Amazon,
So
coaching.
my main sources of income right now are coaching is my main source right now, and I want to
Okay,
make it even bigger. So having a lot of
great.
fun teaching people, which is weird because I thought I wasn't worth it, but people are having results
You
and they're
are
very
fucking worth it,
and
man.
they're very happy. And so like I'm like,
Yeah.
oh okay, like I don't get to decide, you know, if they're happy and its results is good, then I guess it's good.
I know you're worth it. I know
And then
you.
thank you. So I have that. Obviously, I have YouTube, which is less because
Yes.
I haven't been doing a lot of work on it. And then I have I do like speaking gigs or appearances. If I go
Yes.
to a conference, you know, they got to pay me. I have that. I do consultations, and then I
Great.
have the Amazon business still, but that's not my focus at all. So like right now, I don't have any units listed in my inventory because I sold them all. And
You were
so
like
right. So
liquidating
like,
or
no. It's just like because I
selling.
sold, I took a long break during the pandemic for mental health. I got really depressed. I tried taking medication and all this stupid shit. And
Okay.
eventually I
Yeah.
feel better now because I stopped taking medicine. But
Are
like,
you better? Yeah, great. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So, but basically, since reselling is not my focus, I'm like, look, I need to focus on helping people and doing this because I make way more money and
Creating.
it makes me
Yeah.
feel good creating and helping
Content.
others. And I
Yeah,
could
yeah.
always go back to focusing on just selling if that was my only option. So I still sell on Amazon, but most of the time it's when I'll go and if I find a lot of good stuff, I'll buy it all and make a video. Or if I go,
Yeah.
I still go sourcing, but if I only find a little bit, I just put it on the shelf in the garage and I wait till I have a big enough stuff to make a shipment, and then I'll probably make a video of like how to make an FBA
Yeah,
shipment
yeah, yeah.
or
I understand.
whatever. So like I'm thinking like I I need to make a video, and so then I buy a products and I make a video, or I wait
Just
for it
to
to sell
provide
and then I
value.
make a
Yeah.
video. Exactly. So it's like it's not my focus. So for Amazon, I don't have anybody. It's just me. It's just me.
Great.
And then
And the personal
for
brand, do you have like
yeah,
people?
just I have one person, my administrator Mandy. So she's worked with
Okay.
me I think for like 6 years now, 5 or 6 years,
Great, great.
and she helps me with like scheduling, with talking to people because I can't talk to everybody, you know what I mean, or
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all the back end stuff, handling the Discord community,
Oh,
training and hiring virtual assistants that work for
yes.
our you know, making a leads list, different services that we have. So I would say though, I do have one other employee. Her name's Jed. That's my video editor from the Philippines, and she's worked with me for like four years now, 4 or 5 years.
Shout out.
So
Yeah.
shout out Jed. She's really awesome. And we have a couple of the VAs that help with our leads list and stuff that have worked with us for 3 years. But Mandy kind of
Yeah.
just handles all that. So I don't know if we would classify those as employees or not. But for the
Yeah.
most part, it's just me and Mandy. And then now with the coaching program, I have I'm working with a team that's helping me to do all that stuff because I don't know how to do. I can teach and make
Yeah.
videos, but I don't know how to
You're not
set up.
like a
I don't know how to
marketer.
set up the platform and do the click funnels and to write all the
Yeah,
copy and
marketing.
do
Yeah.
the ads and the retargeting. Like I don't know how to do all that. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah, I
mean?
know.
So yeah, they
I
take a
know you.
cut
I know you.
obviously, but it's you know I got to do what I'm good at this. You know what I mean? Like I'm good
Yeah,
at
like just
talking and
communicating, teaching.
exactly like making
Yeah, yeah,
videos.
yeah.
So that's pretty much where I'm at with that. That's
Perfect.
my income. My wife is a music teacher, and so she brings
Wow,
in a
great,
good amount of money. She went to college for it, so she
great.
works in a school a couple days a week, a private school, and then she has lessons. And so our house that we bought in October, we have one room in the house dedicated for her music
Music.
studio.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
great,
it has its own door from the side, and then students come and everything. It's pretty cool.
great, great, great. I'm glad, man. So I think we can sum it up here, the podcast. Thank you so much for your hour and 15 minutes, almost hour and 20 minutes. I think it's very interesting and very like I respect your story a lot. Thank you for sharing this time with me, and I hope people like this podcast. Subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and say whatever you want to end the podcast.
Dude, thank you for having me on. It's great to finally meet you. We've talked so
Yeah,
much over the years on on
On
Instagram, and
Instagram. Yeah.
it's been, awesome watching you, because like I remember, of your journey, and then you
Yeah.
started coaching, and when people start coaching or doing YouTube too, that really you're following me even more. You're like, look, Reezy
Exactly.
taught me how to sell, but then like you're like, but Reezy's doing YouTube and teaching,
Exactly.
and he's like, I wonder if I could do that, and I think you probably even asked me before, and I was like,
Yeah.
dude,
Yeah.
go for it, like there's
Exactly.
probably nobody doing it in Spanish. You know
Yeah.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I
There
mean,
was no
there's a
content.
small, even now, still probably not a lot,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
speaking Spanish and being from Mexico is different than speaking Spanish and being from Spain. So it's
Exactly.
kind of,
Yeah.
it's even like two audiences. You know what
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean? And it's just cool, man. There's so many,
Yeah.
there's
It's very
different
cool.
people you can reach. Like I did a Reezy Resells in Espanol, and I put some
Yeah.
videos in
Really?
Spanish. Yeah, I have a separate channel on my channel. You can see it if you go to the
We can
channel.
leave it
So
here behind if they want
yeah,
also.
I'll put some videos. That's actually good. We can put some links to the Spanish videos.
Yeah.
But
So yeah.
there's just so much opportunity for everybody to
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
if I did it, and I want to know how to say your name properly too. I'm sorry.
Aitor. It's like a Basque
Aitor.
name. I'm from the Basque country, the north of Spain. It's like
Yeah,
close to France.
Aitor.
Aitor. Yeah.
Aitor.
Aitor. It's like.
Aitor.
By
Aitor.
the way, I was gonna ask you. You came to Italy once. I saw your stories. You haven't been to Spain, no, or UK or
Nope.
something.
No, I gotta go to Spain though, and Portugal.
Yeah. When
I'm Portuguese, right?
What?
I'm Portuguese.
What? Sorry.
I'm Portuguese.
Really? Are you Portuguese?
Yeah,
My surname is it's like from Galicia, Portugal. Ferreira. This surname is like a little bit Portuguese. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm a quarter Portuguese. My grandfather
yeah.
was full Portuguese.
So I just wanted to say, like, the last thing of course, if you come to Spain, Madrid, or whatever, and you need whatever you need here, you can text me. And thank you very much for your
We
time.
got your couch is open. We're good. You go to guest room.
You're good. You're good. You have time.
Awesome.
Sorry, you have space, no time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yo, thank you for doing this in English too, because it would have been
yeah,
really
yeah,
hard
yeah.
for me to do it in Spanish.
I was kind of annoyed because I was doing podcasts with a lot of people, and I was like, I just want to talk in English with someone,
Right.
and I might move country, start talking in English on
Yeah.
YouTube. So I'm gonna create like a separate channel, but promote it on the main one in Spanish. So
Yeah.
great, let's go.
Habla español un poquito, so that would have been a problem.
Yeah, no. We were texting before, and
Yeah.
you were like, hopefully it's in English, the podcast. And I'm like, no,
Awesome, man.
pero your wife is Mexican and you don't know Spanish yet.
No. She doesn't speak Spanish either. She
No,
used
really?
to.
Okay.
But they in America they tell the parents for the immigrants speak English.
Really?
English. They tell them don't
Yeah.
speak Spanish. Your kid, you're disadvantaged, teach them
Yeah,
English. And so she used to speak Spanish when she was a little, and now she doesn't speak Spanish.
Great. Yeah. I understand what you mean.
Yeah.
So that's it, man. Thank you for your time. I think
Thank you, man.
you have things to do.
Oh,
So
I got
thank
all
you
kinds of things to do.
Thank you for sharing your time, and take care, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Ciao,
man.
ciao.
Bye.